Hello and welcome. These are horse racing selections for Sunday, the 4th of August, the final day of the Galway Festival. I am Flatcapcallum and I'm hoping you are all very, very well. Alright, last of the 7-day marathon. After this, I shall be going back on my merry way on my summer break and I'll not see you again until September, unless miraculously something very special occurs. That is the plan. So this was always going to be a week in the middle of my summer break, and I shall be going off on my summer break. So you won't see me on YouTube now until September is the plan, when I shall be returning in some sort of more regular fashion. All right, so we've got to go through Galway's bets for Sunday. I've got 6 horses in a funky combination of doubles and trebles across 3 races. There was a couple of big field handicaps at Galway I didn't like, so I've left them out. And I've gone with 2 that I like, and the bumper, the last race of the Galway Festival. I like a horse in the bumper, so that's the 6 that we've got. I did have a mild debate about whether I should put some other things in there, but I've stuck to Galway Goodwood all week, and that's what we will carry on till the last and do. So I've got to do the review of Saturday, and then we'll do a bit of a stat review. So Saturday, again, about break even. Most days this week have been about break even, and considering I'm chucking out a few horses at big prices, it's quite unusual, to be honest. You would expect, expect more days to get struck out, particularly when you're betting at Galway and Goodwood and big field handicaps. That's not been the case. But yeah, 16 quid's the best we've had, and £10 loss is the worst we've had, and everything else has sort of been in between. So I think I got it as 23 on, 24.62 back, so 162 profit. Everybody's result will have varied slightly because there was a lot of non-runners and people would have put different variations of bets. For anyone who's sort of literally in the early hours before 7:53, I think, when the first non-runner was declared, then that was the returns you got. So we'll go through that, but the sort of the upshot is we are going into the last day minus £2.96. So we've wagered 127, got back 124. I think that's where we're at. Which at least it's not a complete it's not a blowout, but I would like to have had a little bit more, a few more tokens back than what we've had thus far. So the review was this. So we have 2 non-runners in there, and then we have Tides of War, which is really poor, and then we had 2 places. That one only counted, so Pisnair was there. Celtic Warrior only counted for, was it Sky 365, Paddy, Betfair, Unibet, possibly one other, something like that. So I know not everybody will have got a return off that one, but and not all of those in terms of Unibet wasn't up there, but Coral's, Betfred and Ballsports were, so it will vary slightly. I obviously had 2 in that one, and we'll get to UK and Glen, but had that one UK and Glen placed with 2 non-runners, it would have been a nice return. But to be honest, I wouldn't have really wanted it, in the sense of most people wouldn't have achieved it because they'll have had non-runners in there too. So even if the channel had returned a nice return, it wouldn't have sort of sat nicely in the sense that other people wouldn't be on. So the profit figures would be looking better. Overall, we are 296 behind, but I know there'll be plenty of folk who are ahead. If you've taken the bookmaker advice all the week, then you would be ahead with what we've been doing. But in terms of what's fair to record from the prices I've taken and sort of at least 3 bookmakers playing place terms, there's definitely been standout bookmakers each day where you could have made slightly improved results. Pisnair, to be honest, was one of 2. UK and Glen and Pisnair, I think they're both unlucky in the sense of they got boxed in, and UK and Glen, that's the second time that's happened, because I distinctly, whether it was last year or the year before, I seem to remember the same thing. We backed it at Goodwood and it got stuck, and then by the time we actually got out there, hang on, just leave that. I need that for my Galway stats. And then we had place, non-runner, faded. So that was it. So 5 horses ran, 3 placed. So as I said, that's where we got to. We made 162 and minus 296 for the channel stats. Galway Goodwood stats. So Goodwood stats, we finished We only backed 19 horses at Goodwood, and you compare that to, well, it's interesting actually, 38 horses both previous 2 years, so exactly 50% less horses I've backed at Goodwood. So I've done a lot less volume this year, partly because I didn't want to punt a few things. I mean, there was a couple I did put in a bit punty, but generally I was a bit more selective with what I was doing. It yielded a 32% frame return with one winner out of those at 20-1. So if you backed them all win singles, you'd have got your money back, basically speaking. Because I think there was a rule for, so yeah, you basically got your money back. That was that. 32% was fine, but we didn't string them together enough on any particular day. Galway were running at 9 framers out of 32, including three winners. Yeah, 3 winners out of that 32. So at Galway, 32 horses backed, 3 winners, but they're 20s, 25s and 33s. So you'd have a really tidy profit if all you did was back the Galway selections win single to this point. It's only a 28% strike rate. So I would want to be getting into the low 30s really, to believe that I can achieve decent returns. So from a long-term perspective, 28's a bit on the short side for a Galway festival. I'd like that to be a bit higher. So we'll see. We've got 6 selections and we need 3 of them framing to make profit really, unless we get a winner. 3 of them framing to make profit on Sunday. So that will help those stats a little bit because it will take it over at about 30%, if we can achieve that. In fact, yes, if we can achieve 3, that'd be 30. Yeah, but just over 30%. So that'd be a better place. So we will see how we end up. Interestingly, I split between the handicaps on the jumps and the handicaps on the flat. Not much different this year in Galway. So last year we were much better on the flat handicaps, but running into the last day, 4 out of 15 frames on the handicap jumps and 5 out of 17 on the flat. So we've done a similar amount, and just checking on it will end up with 19 on each. We'll end up with 19 on each because we've got 4 jumpers, if including the bumper. Not a handicap horse actually. The first non-handicap horse have backed all week. There we go. There's some stats run down. So, right, let's move that out of the way. Here's the bet for anyone who wants it. Who's still, to be fair, if you stuck with me for 7 days, well done. Well done. It's been a marathon, not a sprint. It feels like a marathon, although it's gone quite quick, to be fair. But here we go. So Galway, didn't like the first handicap, the 2 mile hurdle one. I'm also mindful there's a bit more rain at Galway, so I think any significant rain might change the going, which is going to impact non-runners. There's already a bunch of horses that I think will come out anyway, so I think it'll be a bit like Saturday where we'll see quite a bit of non-runner fest going on at Galway. So it will impact some of the prices. It'll impact the place terms for some races, and it will give us some rule falls, I'm sure. But I do like the 3 mile handicaps. 3 horses in there, all ran in this race last year and all finished in top 7, and they're all handicapped to a similar mark. So overpriced, definitely. I mean, there's more to it than that, but as a basic headline, that's a good place to start. So 220, Peaches and Cream at 22s, Arabian King at 25s, Another Choice at 25s. They're the starting of the 3. Then we've got leg 2 in the 4 o'clock. Which is the valuable flat one. We've got Earls at 16, and I'm keeping faith with Current Option at 20s. It ran no sort of race really at the beginning of the week when we backed it. It has won this race 3 times, but it is starting to look inconsistent. But overall, there's value in 20s. If it had been 10s, I wouldn't want to play, but 20s I'll play. And then we're finishing off in the race that most people would not be, but the last race of Galway Festival, 5:30, Falusin. I think that horse the market's got that all wrong. That's how I'm reading that horse. The market's judging it based on its last time out. When if you look at the 2 times before on yielding ground, it was a much better horse and actually goes into this race with the best overall rating of any of these horses, and it's done it 2 times. And I think if you look at this is going to make it look like I'm not one for looking at speed figures, but if you do look at speed figures, the last bumper where it was a bit more of a flop, it was a slightly faster run bumper than average. So on that basis, I think you could upgrade that slightly. So I think I'm not so worried about what on paper is the poor performer. And we've got the same amateur jockey that's ridden it all 3 times as well. So there's a bit of consistency in there. And yeah, there's definitely some unexposed types in there that could perform well. But I like that horse from an odds perspective. I think that should be... would I work it out? More about 15 to 2, 8 to 1. That's where I'd have the horse. So just give you a bit of perspective. So I'd be really, really surprised if that horse stays around 25 to 1. You know, from a point value point of view, absolutely the best value horse of the day that I've seen at Galway. There's more margin in these 3 than there is in these 2, definitely. But so that's sort of the weaker leg of the 3, I think. So we have got eggs in baskets here, and that is on Felucin. So it's 11. So all 6 new bet slip, and it's annoying because it's 11 and it doesn't round up properly. So 11 times 25p each way doubles. So that's 550. So that's a big chunk of our stake. And then we're going to go 6 times 20p each way trebles. So that's 240, and then 50p each way singles on all 6. So that takes it to 13.90. So I appreciate for those folk out there that like round numbers, we haven't quite got there. So we'll have ended outlay for the week £140.90. And the worst we can do now this week is finish on minus 16.86. That's the worst we can do, which would not be terrible given it's a tricky week. But I would love to come out with a bit of profit. So, in order to make profit on this bet, if no prices changed by rule 4s and we didn't lose anything else from that perspective, so let's imagine these are the prices we've got. We need 3 out of 6 to frame, as long as they're in at least 2 different races. So if it was all those 3, we wouldn't get over the line for profit. But any other 3 combination, whether that's 1 in each race or whether it's 2 in one and 1 in the other, 3 framers, we make profit. One winner and 1 other framer would make profit. That's what we've got to do. That's the aim of the game today. If we get more than 3, absolutely delight, because that'll be a cracker day and that'll finish us off nicely. But we need at least 3 to get profit. 2 places is not enough it will be enough to get some money back, but not enough for profit. 1's clearly not what we're aiming for, and 0 be crying into my picnic. I'm not having a picnic tomorrow, but it's just what came with me. I'm actually going out for brunch tomorrow. It's one of the little people's birthdays, so yeah, we have a birthday brunch in the morning. So Sky are best because that first race they're offering 7 places. Everybody else is 5. Most bookies are 5 there, but watch out, Hills and 888. The time of this video are not. Everybody's standard terms 3 places on that one. 13.90. Last bet from me for the summer. That is it. All right. Thank you very much for those who've joined the ride and all the extra subscribers. It's been very nice to have all these folk join, and I'm sure half of you will disappear when you realise that that's it. I'll be off now for a few weeks. So thanks for joining. But the best way to stay in touch about what's going on the channel is subscribe. I do really appreciate the likes. Anybody who's watched me for a length of time know I never ask for any of these things. I'm just not that way inclined to ask for stuff, so that's not me anyway. B, doesn't it drive you potty, all these videos where people just like and subscribe, smash the like button? No, I mean, the other day, do you know what, I was in a restaurant the other night, some guy recording a YouTube video sat next to me in a restaurant. Yeah. And he was talking about horse racing. It seemed to be one of the horses that I picked as well. It was really strange. Very strange moment. But yeah, I was like, what an antisocial, like, inconsiderate arsehole. Like, you're recording a YouTube video on your phone in the middle of a really nice restaurant. I was trying to enjoy my meal. Just like nearly, I gave him a bit of a look, but he carried on. 2 minutes long it was, just making a video about some horse racing. And he was half cut. I mean, honestly, people. Anyway, all right, that's me. I'll end there in my usual fashion, and I'll be back in September. I'll let you know when, and if there's anything great in between, I'll let you know that too. But otherwise, been a pleasure. Thank you very much. Hope you've enjoyed your week. Bye bye.